AMD still holding on. Apple starting to look interesting there. 143.20 is below. Here comes this buyer back on Apple. Possibly this guy again. Does have this high day to contend with, but if this buyer's real, then that's not going to be an issue. High day is 46 cents, so high day there. AMD. I don't see this AMD setting up for anything here. This Apple, however, is looking stronger and stronger. Apple at highs. Might have to take another shot on this Apple. Gonna give it a little more time. See what it looks like. 173. Looks like it's gonna have to be against 173s. But need to probably get my position on between 40 cents and 10 cents. Yeah, I'm gonna take a shot on this Apple here. That structure is looking very good. Between 40 cents and 10 cents, 51, 44, 34. Looks like I've got 300. I've got an average price of 38 cents. It did spike down there. I need to go ahead and set my stop. It's going to be right below 90 cents there. So we're going to go ahead and set the stop there at a 38 cent average here. And we're looking for high a day, 75 cents. High a day. So here we go. Starting to party on this Apple. See if we can go drive to new highs. I'd love to see this Apple buyer step in and start working. Good volume here, good structure on this footprint. Just needing to continue buying and drive this thing to highs. Swooping back down into these areas here, but if this buyer is for real, this buyer will continue to defend those levels, and if that buyer has more order to fill, then they will go ahead and drive that order to completion. Let's look at NVIDIA, which is on lows. NVIDIA on lows, not a ton of volume there. There's Apple trying to get back up. It spiked up there, but I didn't get anything off up there. It's a little concerning that they didn't drive it higher. Let's give it one more shot there. It did get up into the 60s, I saw. Looks like it got up into 64 cents. My first partial was at 67 cents. So, I'd like to see that, that volume come in and this Apple make its way to highs. NVIDIA on lows. Market coming in. Not a good sign for our Apple. Here's another attempt here. 50s, 60s. Can't get past that 64. Really having trouble with that 64. Can we clear that 64-cent offer? We're really struggling with it. No, we cannot. Okay. Someone's trying to keep a lid on this thing, but if it gets past that 64, this thing will run. However, don't know if that, wow. Apple coming all the way back in. Let's try one more time here. 64 cents. Can we get past that 64 cent? I think we can. But those wicks definitely concerning. Let's take a look here. This NVIDIA is trying to crack lows. Here we go. Get back above 50 and go take a run at those 60s. I think if that 60-cent seller clears out, this Apple's really going to run. It could run to 74, but it's got to make work of that 60-cent seller there. Here we go. Another chance at 64 cents. Can we clear that 64-cent seller? We did clear them, and here we go. Don't want to see them back. Don't like that action at all. Gonna start lightening up. Don't like that at all. Do not want to see that seller come back. Want to see Apple on highs at this point. Taking more off up here. Don't like the fact that this Apple can't get up. Going ahead and canceling the rest. If we do get above, then I'll set an alert there, but otherwise I am going to stop out of my long. Below 30 cents. The 64-cent seller is just, but the buyer and the seller are battling each other. There we go. That's better. Take a partial. Oh, it didn't get that partial up there. Let's try one more time. Okay, took a partial up there. And let's go off to the races here on this Apple. Gonna go ahead and set a stop here on this Apple at 30 cents. If it's back down there, then we've got a problem. This thing should be running up above 74 at this point. So going back, this NVIDIA did crack lows, but then it popped right back up. Oh, there we go. Apple up here at the 90s. Let's see if we can get any fills up above. Got a fill there at 4 cents. Setting my stop now for break even. I believe I got 4 cents. I did. Okay. And now stop at break even for my remainder, and the rest is going to be running off of this footprint exit. I'm going to just let this thing run. And in fact, I will let's see here. Screen, check, 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 1, 2, check, 1, 2. Check, 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 1, 2. All-time highs on this Apple. NVIDIA sucking back up in. Lucid back in no man's land. AMD in no man's land. NVIDIA coming back up into no man's land. Neo in no man's land. Pfizer hanging out below pre-market lows. SFIX in no man's land. AMC in no man's land. Intel cracked low a day. Baba no man's land. Roku did suck back down into no man's land. Marvel cracking high a day here. Very little volume. Very little volume on that one. Not much to do there. CFVI just broke that pre-market low there. What's up, everybody? Just talking to myself here. I am in the middle of a trade right now. Rivian, not much there. Moderna in no man's land. BNTX. I'm going to be somewhat distracted here as I'm managing the runner on my Apple long here. I'll show you what I did. This is my second attempt at this long in Apple. You can see I got stopped out on my first attempt right there. I'll show you that one. And then I saw it set up again. The buyer, I think what the buyer did was, and I think it wasn't just the presence of the buyer and the fact that this buyer tried to shake off all the day traders, which is what they effectively did here. I think it was more than that because this section right here, this is going to be an interesting video recording because this section right here, you can see these wicks here. I was very patient just trying to wait through these. There was like a 64-cent seller here who I think there was two-way. Either this buyer was in another account trying to keep the lid on it or they were competing against a seller here. But while I try to stay patient in my runner here, as I watch this negative footprint delta develop, that's not enough yet to take the runner off or tighten the stop. Although if this thing comes in much more, it's going to kick my stop. But let's take a look at the entry, the first entry. It was this. That was these guys over here on the left. I saw this and I was like, well, that's not a perfect looking structure, but I will take a shot on it. And I took a shot on it and it came back in and filled me and then stopped me out. And so this is just another example of, you know, in the morning I was saying like be low on size. The pre-market looks really sketchy. This is not a perfect structure. This would not make sense taking full size on. The volume was good into it, but you can see that these nodes aren't super well defined. This one's a little bit wider for my taste. So I took it anyways and got stopped out on it. And that's what when I talk about not taking subpar trades, like you can save yourself the headache and just skip on these. Like there's no need to be involved in these, but I took it and got stopped out on that one. Fortunately, I did reduce my size, so it was not a large loss. But anyways, um, and then I kept setting alerts, and I saw it struggling, and it came in far, like it came in way below here. So it was a legitimate stop out. It wasn't a wick out. And I kept watching it, kept resetting alerts, and then I saw this structure. Now this one, look at this one, guys. This is juicy. And with the context of that buyer having done that, and then coming back and then pressing with volume. And I was watching the tape during this period, and he was just lifting everything, just lifting, stepping up, lifting, stepping up, taking out everything. And based on the tape, based on the context, we're on all-time highs. I was like, this is worth trying again. So I focused on this center node to get most of my fills in. So I peppered bids all the way around this center node right here. And that's where I got filled. You can see right here. And then we pulled back a couple more times, and then we ran into that 64-cent seller on the tape who just would not give up. Very frustrating. And then they took him out, and it shot up to 74. So I took partials into that 64-cent seller to lighten up, made new highs, took another partial off, big spike up to 174 to check the other side of 174, trip any stops potentially. Took one off right there at the high of the day. I believe I got 4 cents. I did 4 cents, got the high of day print on that sale, and now I have my runner in using the footprint exit strategy. The delta is what we will use for the exit here. This being on all-time highs, the market being what it is, the context being what it is, this thing could run another 2 points. I mean, it really could do anything. It could stop me out the next bar, or it could keep on running. I don't think it's as clean. There we go, high of days, Apple. Very nice. Sat through all of that patiently, letting the footprint exit take me out. We're back on highs with our runner. So very nice there. I wonder where this thing will go. There's no resistance above. There's no resistance above. So that's that trade. So as I just watch that, and I will stop myself out on it, either at break even down here or at a large negative heavy delta. The other trade that I took today was this AMC, what happened with that? It was a short. Where was the short? It was a short based off of this bar. This is not the most attractive bar right here. I'll admit that. But it had these loosely defined spots right here. So I shorted into between these two. And I got filled on a tiny bit, and you can see where I got filled right there. I covered a couple here because I just saw it was wicking. It was doing the same thing that Apple was doing, but on the other side. And so I took a little bit off, and then I stopped out of the rest of my position here, and then I stopped out of the small runner I left just in case up here. I ended up basically scratching on this AMC. I think I lost like $8 total. But I could just feel it wasn't, and again, subpar setup. And this is what I'm talking about, like, what is the, instead of wasting mental capital on these two subpar setups I took, this one in AMC and then this early one in Apple off of that, you can just wait. And then you see these will come. There's Apple on highs, by the way. Very nice. I do have an offer for a small partial up right here at 21 cents. See if we get up there. We did not. We got up to 17. Just taking off partials as we click higher on Apple. We'll see if I get filled at 21 cents there. You can see me highlighted there. Boom, got filled. Excellent. Go ahead and manage my stop. Here we go. Another pop here. 30 cents. So I'm gonna take another piece off at I don't know, let's say 50 cents. Really small pieces, just bit by bit by bit. And gonna go ahead and I'm not using this delta because that's not the correct one. We're right here on the chart. There's this apple driving higher here. Very nice. What am I doing? I'm setting a stop for the remainder of my runner. And right now I have no reason to move my stop up. So the stop goes back down all the way down to break even on this. I have no reason to move the stop up yet because the negative delta has not come in yet. But what was I saying? I was saying instead of wasting your mental capital on those subpar ones, just wait for the juicy good one and just lay into this one. Like that, it's really about sitting on your hands and waiting for your setups. You know, like. Why did you set pre-market for 7 a.m.? I have 4 a.m. and different pre-market lows to the Apple trade. Yeah, pre-market does start at 4 a.m. on certain exchanges. I've just noticed that most of the volume is done at after 7 a.m. So no rhyme or reason. You could set it at 4 a.m. I felt like 8 a.m. was too late, and I felt like 4 a.m. was too early. I think maybe because back in the day, pre-market used to be starting at 7 a.m. and some of the other electronic exchanges opened up and started to offer it at earlier times. I gotta turn a fan on in here. Hold on a second, guys. It's super hot. Okay. Let's see here. So, just watching this delta for the rest. Okay, let's keep looking at what else. Let's switch this to a 2-minute. But do you guys see what I'm saying about like staying out of the subpar ones? Like save yourself the hassle. Just wait for the good ones because they will come. You just have to be patient for them and sit on your hands. And that's like one of the hardest parts is you see things set up, you know, like I saw this AMC set up and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to look real smart by taking this short." Well, I mean, sure, I scratched on it and it wasn't heavy damage because I took off half the position down there, but like it just drains you, you know? It makes you then it builds up your recency bias. Just wait for the good ones. It's like finding life partners. Just wait for the good ones. Don't waste your life energy on the less good ones. Might go check the other side of 74 here. That's quite all right though. We have a nice wide stop on the runner here. Given the fact that Apple is on all-time highs, we want to give it some room to breathe with this runner because it could go another point or two. SFIX. This one had news pre-market. We can go ahead and step away from our Apple here and just let it bounce around. AMC is almost at high of day here. SFIX, where's my SFIX? SFIX cracking above pre-market highs. This thing had news. Big gap down after hours yesterday. Trying to drive up here in pre-market. Rallied a bit on the open. Market neutral right now. Hanging out. SFIX trying to put in a structure here as it cracks above pre-market highs. Let's see if this Apple can make a run here for high a day. There's high a day right there on Apple, and it got rejected. Boom. Real strong rejection off of high a day right there. I do have an offer out there at 49. It's twice that we've come up to the 40s. and I missed it by 5 cents. That's okay. I'm just using it as a thermometer, if you will, as a way to gauge what the buying strength is up here. Starting to get a little bit of a negative delta here. Certainly not the heaviest. That's heavier. Right there. That is heavier. So if this negative delta holds and this buyer doesn't come back, then we will go ahead and tighten up the stops, but we have more time to wait until that happens. But yeah, this thing is coming back in. Now 60 cents off the highs. Nice heavy delta there. Forming. Look back to this S-fix. It is popping above this pre-market high. Don't see a structure that's worth taking a shot on yet for that. We'll keep an eye on that. And in fact, we're going to do more than that. We're going to set an alert for a high a day. Holy shit. Hey, Simeon. I had no idea you were here. Yeah, you're right. The NASDAQ is coming in a little bit too. Yep. Yeah, it's a sketchy day today, and choppy looking too. We're like, it looks like we're in the middle of yesterday's range. Hey guys, this S-fix, I don't like this structure. You can see it looks like someone sold 200 something thousand right here on this S-fix. And there's just not a well-defined structure, and it sucks back into this no man's land between pre-market highs and pre-market lows. Apple is back above. We do have a negative, somewhat heavy delta here, negative. What was the low of that? Like the 70s? 70s? Man, I'm hesitant to tighten the stop up to the 70s right now. I think I'm going to leave my stop at break even for now and not tighten it just to give Apple a little bit more room. Why? Because the context of it being at all-time highs, it's just whipping around right now. Just if it comes down and touches 65 cents, it really doesn't mean anything. This is me kind of modifying this and letting my stop breathe. If we get another heavier delta, like negative 80 or something like that, then I'll tighten it up. But I want to let this thing breathe because I think there is a potential for it to run. So I'm letting the winner work here a little bit longer despite this negative delta. And plus if I set it here, my stop is here. It's not that far away really. This is different than moving your stop because, again, this is my runner. I've already locked in profit for this trade. I'm going to be profitable on this trade no matter what. Even if this runner comes all the way back, I will be profitable on this trade. So this is not moving your stop on a loser. This is me not adjusting, not tightening a stop on a winner to let it run and let it breathe. There's a big difference between those two. This S-fix, I don't see anything there. Let's take a look at Lucid at the top here. In no man's land, nothing to do there. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA popped back up into pre-market lows and is cracking down again. Nothing to do there. I was watching NVIDIA at low a day over here and here and here, and it just never cracked. And every time it did poke below, it was not significant or convincing to me, so I never took a shot on NVIDIA on the short side. AMC. No man's land. S-fix, no man's land. AMD, no man's land. Intel, falling apart again. But it's only moved about 10 cents in an hour because it's Intel. Neo, where did you go? Neo, no man's land. Pfizer, no man's land. I'm taking this CFVI off my screen. Baba, no man's land. Marvel, retesting this pre-market high. Roku, is Roku on the open I was looking at for potentially taking a long on off of this opening drive bar, but I didn't just because I felt sketched out by the pre-market. Roku's and it's not a day trading stock. It's a very wide trading stock. So let's take a look at what our Apple is doing here. Oh, I gotta jump back to now. We're holding up. We're okay so far on this Apple. Yeah, nothing to worry about yet. Nothing to worry about at all, actually. Rivian popping back up into no man's land. Tesla, all these down here, no volume. Jumping back up to the top of the list. Lucid, no man's land. Nvidia cracking that pre-market low. SFIX trying again. I have an alert for high at day here, so we will be alerted. Okay, let's just watch Apple then. Let's just watch Apple. And then I'm going to have to run for the day. And while this Apple goes, I'm going to get some work done. Let's see here. I think the lesson for today, oh, SFIX. Boom. There she goes. Let's see what we get. Not very convincing right now. SFIX on this. I'm not that excited about that structure yet. Apple coming in. And remember, I'm okay taking this all the way back down to break even for my runner. I'm willing to do that. SFIX. Let's just watch this SFIX structure form here. Let's watch what this buyer is doing. This is not the most active tape either.
I feel like a break is coming.
On the market? Right.
Yeah, because it's been waiting.
E easy. Let's see here, checking back in. I'm bouncing back and forth between work here, guys. This SFIX structure, this is not strong enough of a structure to warrant putting risk on, in my opinion. And the volume isn't there, guys. Let's check back in on Apple. Nothing to do here yet. Sit on hands. I don't use brackets like that, no. I set a couple of profit, and I have a stop in and a profit offer in, but I set those manually. I don't have them automated or like fixed size or distance or anything like that. It's all manually entered. Can we walk through the items you're watching in real time for the breakout bar like SFIX? Yeah. So on this first breakout bar, which is what set my alert off, um, I'm looking for the development of the nodes, and I'm watching the tape for the temperature of the buyer and the buying happening. And I don't see the type of buying that I would want to see here, as Apple is going to make another attempt at high a day here. Sorry, just got to balance the two of these. But like if you look at the buying on this Apple on this time, you can see the structure of this is significantly different than the structure of that SFIX. SFIX got up to a certain level and there was a seller who just sold, I think it was 200,000 shares at some level. This buyer cracked pre-market highs, took out everything at 173 offered for sale, kept going higher, took out everything in this area that was for sale, kept going higher, took out everything that was for sale up here. Good volume. That's what I'm looking for. So going back over to SFIX, and then we'll check out NEO as well. On this SFIX, on this bar, buyer came up and countered 1950. It looks like someone slammed the bid on them. He took it, not on a ton of volume, and then it just kind of drifted up. There wasn't significant resistance or selling on the way up. And the buyer isn't pressing on the gas, because if they did, they'd be over $20 now. There's not much resistance here. So, and I think the biggest detractor is the volume isn't there. There isn't the catalyst for the volume to spike. Let's look at NEO. NEO cracking pre-market highs here. I mean, we can watch this develop as well. Let me just double check my Apple and look for any negative deltas for that remainder, which we do not have yet. Okay, let's watch this NEO develop. So the first thing, if it's not heavy volume, then there's no play. That's first of all. So right now we have a very light colored volume, total volume bar here as it cracks pre-market highs, and right now there's nothing to do. Check back in with Apple. Someone's holding this 80-cent level. NEO continuing to drive, testing that 34. Nothing to do yet, no volume. Let's take a look. Jumping back and forth between work here as well. What is that? Let's go to here. Come back over here. What is our Apple doing? Hanging out. What is our NEO doing? It cracked above pre-market high on very average volume, nothing too exciting, and is not extended and has no distinct nodes. So right now there's nothing to do on NEO for this setup. Do you want to see dark blue volume on a breakout on the long side and green on the tape? Do you watch how the market makers move in level 2? Yes, with an asterisk, because it's not as, there's more nuances to it than just that. Like, even if you saw dark blue on a breakout and you saw green on the tape, that isn't enough to say, yes, this is a long. Does that make sense? Like, on top of everything else, if I see dark blue on the volume on the breakout, and I see a bunch of buying and offers lifting on the tape. Those two mean the same thing, by the way. Like if I see green on the tape, or apples over here, if I see green on the tape, that is going to show up as blue on the footprint. So those are the same things. Um, but those alone don't justify a long. They add to their additional puzzle pieces to the long, if you will. When I saw Apple right here, when I saw it again break above that level the second time, so I stopped out on this one and I saw it moving up here, I was watching the tape on it and I think I have it recorded. Actually, I think I'm still recording now. I am. Okay. So all of the, I'll have to watch my language. This, we wouldn't want swearing on Fat Cat's channel. The tape I was watching right here, as this was retesting those prior levels, that 173, and the buying looked different on the tape. And I think I was commenting on it because the buyer was he was just lifting everything on the offer, stepping up, lifting everything on the offer, stepping up, and rinse and rinse and repeat. And I don't know if we can see that here. You can see it in there was two-way in these different nodes because he was stepping up on the bid as well as lifting the offer. But then as soon as he broke through all the sellers there, it was just lift, 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 next spot, lift, 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 next spot. So yeah, it does aid. It added conviction for me more than anything else. It wasn't a trade signal by itself, if that makes sense. And there you go, Neo breaking down back into no man's land. Again, not enough there for a setup on that Neo. So what we will do is we will set a high day as 34.27, 34.27 high day. We'll just set an alert there and let that go. Do I have any negative deltas here? Not heavy. Not heavy. So I'm not moving the stop yet. Stop stays at break even. If we get out of this consolidation and drive hard to new highs and establish significant new highs, so not just 45 cents, but like drive hard past highs, because of the amount of just trading in this rotation here, right here, this thing could run to 175. Like this could just be someone positioning for a larger run. So I want to hang on for that. I don't have a ton of size on. I mean, this is just a tiny piece of my overall position, but still practicing that. So Neo came in. Let's look at Intel. Intel looks weak. Intel looks weak. And still has barely moved. It's moved another 10 cents in the last half hour. AMC, nothing. Lucid, nothing. By nothing, I mean it's in no man's land, so there's nothing for me to do. SFIX, so there you go. Came back in. NVIDIA, cracking. Still has this low a day to contend with. I would need, if NVIDIA could still potentially set up, but it would really need to breach this low a day with conviction. It can't just like break it and then wick back up. That's not enough. If NVIDIA is going to move down and set up on the short side here for this play, it would really need to break lows with conviction, with a good volume, good structure, good push to crack low a day. Let's see, AMD, no man's land, market's coming in, market on lows here. Market on lows, about to go test lows. Apple, holding up at highs, relatively strong compared to the market. If this gets a little bit, if the market starts to help out and push the other direction, here goes Apple above 174. I mean, we're just trading in a range here. AMD in no man's land, Pfizer in no man's land, Baba in no man's land, Roku testing the pre-market high support. Marvel, pretty much nothing with volume down here. Back to the top. Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's just it's the Apple show right now. We just sit and wait. Let's go ahead and move to a 9-minute. Oh, is it 11 yet? No, I'll wait till 11 to move to a 9-minute. We'll wait to 11 to move to that. But yeah, right now it's just sit on your hands. Could do some tape reading here if we see a change in character. I'll call it out, but right now, what's up, Dema? We are watching the runner piece in my Apple long to see if it can take new highs. We're on all-time highs in Apple, and we're seeing if this Apple can run, and just managing it with the mechanical footprint stop on this last piece. So out of most of my position, just watching this Apple, see if it can make new highs and run. Unfortunately, I'm running into a time stop as well, so I gotta go in 10 minutes. I don't really have a choice. I'll have to shut the platform down and head out for the day, which is unfortunate. I don't really have another choice though. No, I'm working from home, but the childcare fell through today, so I have my kids to watch, and I don't trade and watch kids at the same time. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
Are you going to spend time with your kids?
Yeah. The childcare fell through, so I'm gonna spend all day with the kids. So I'm taking the day off of work and just gonna go play with the kids. Although it's like negative something degrees outside right now, so we're gonna be inside all day probably. So that's what, yeah, I mentioned in the morning that's gonna be a short day for me, but there's not much I can do. Let's see here. Just taking care of some work stuff. Okay, this is gonna be a super long video. So I've been in this, or the first attempt was what, 950? And it's 1050?
Is that one of good thing and above to sit?
Yeah, I think you might be right. Here we go. I'm seeing activity on the tape here. Pace of tape's picking up. Looks like a buyer stepped up to 31 cents, now 37 cents, 38 cents. Clear in the 40s. Here's a run for high a day here. Can we clear the 44 high a day? No, we did not. We got rejected. Cleared it by a penny. And buyer stepping up to 41 cents here, clearing out the 43s. Seller and buyer battling here. Can this Apple break this 44 cent? I have a 49-cent offer out just to see if we could wick up there. Might be a double top coming in. Buyer let off the gas. Seller trying to see where the buyer's making a stand. 32 cents. That buyer's sticking the bid there at 32 cents, reloading. So I think there's two parties here duking it out in this Apple, is what it feels like. There's a seller
The
with more to
short-term
sell.
bond, the short-term bonds are climbing up. Euro is at its highs. So the euro is at its highs. That means the dollar must be falling down.
Mm. I don't have the dollar on.
Gold is like 10, 15 ticks away from the lows. Oil is, well, it's building this kind of motion somewhere in the middle of the 12.
This
What about the 2 year? The 2 year and the 5 year in the bonds, they're climbing up from the top end of the year.
this,
The 10 year and the 30 year, they're fucking down. Like 3 ticks away from the lows.
this Lucid kicked up on volume above pre-market highs. Might be one to watch a little later. I got about 5 minutes left where I can sit here. This Apple did not crack high a day significantly. 1 penny is not significant. So it ran into a seller at that 74.50. Still no heavy negative delta. No reason to move my stop up yet. We do have this bit of a double top here, but still for the runner, that seller at 74.50 could still get taken out by this buyer. So I'm not gonna get shaken out of my position yet, but I will in 5 minutes when I have to shut everything down. Um, it'd be nice if we could see some fireworks and have that seller blow out. But did you guys follow the tape with me on that, where you could see the buyer stepping up and holding it in the 30s and then stepping up, holding it in the 40s, and then that seller came in and just said, nope. Oh, someone just showed up with size there and disappeared.
The bonds are, the short-term bonds are just going up and up and up. And ES is about to collapse, the Dow as well.
Oh, really? I got to keep track of this. Lucid, 76 cents highs. Just set 10 cents.
You mean the scale sets up?
Oh, the SPY, yeah. Yeah, the ES is definitely looking heavier there than the NASDAQ. And the Dow is also
If
heavy.
this cracks down, then this might be anything but a profitable move. What was building up oil and crack?
Oh,
So
oh,
now they're falling back to the floor.
big, big
Someone
negative
sold
delta
it.
here. Big, heavy
They
negative
sold
delta.
it, man. They sold it. They just hit 2.3k lots in 75. Let's see if it worked. Let me know the money in short now.
This Apple took this 15-cent buyer took 126,000 shares there. That's going to be my signal to start tightening it up. If we get below 95 cents, I'm out. So I'm just going to cancel my remaining orders and go below 95 cents. I have to head out anyways. So in 3 minutes. So if this gets below 95 cents, I will take profit on my runner and head out. We do have a negative delta that does satisfy my mechanical footprint. We did go up and we met a seller at 74.50. The buyer may need to rest, or maybe doesn't have enough ammunition to overpower that seller that was at 74.50, or maybe is not willing or able to overpower that seller. So I do have my stop in moved up to 95 cents right here below this heavy negative delta bar. That is now my stop. So I did move my stop up on the runner, and hopefully there we go. I am stopped out of Apple. That trade is over. Um, and that's it. 2 minutes to spare. Wonderful. Now I can go to high day.